Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And at long last, we're done. I'm sorry, but we're done with Janacek. It's been a joy going through all of these recordings. I mean, so much fun discovering what I've managed to collect. I'm so proud of myself that I got my hands on all this stuff when I could. I really am. So let's see what we have in our last clump, shall we? That's typically eclectic mix. Well, here is the Janacek Sinfonietta and Taras Bulba with Macaris and the Vienna Phil that made a big splash when it came out on Decca. Lustrous digital sound. Actually, the digital sound wasn't so lustrous. It was a little steely, especially when you hear the organ come in at the end of Taras Bulba. The performances also were very different from Macaris's Czech performances. His Czech recordings tend to be livelier, a little bit more rhythmically fresh, less heavy-handed. This was Viennese, I guess. I mean, or Germanic, or a little bit. There's a certain heaviness compared to his other recordings of it, which I particularly don't care for. They're very, very good performances. They're very well played. I'm sure that he certainly made sure that they all did their best. But I think his later super fun recordings of the same repertoire are really better, and they sound better. But that's okay. It's Macaris, it's Janacek. You keep it anyway, and it's coupled with the suite from the Age of Gold, Shostakovich, with the London Phil under Bernard Haitink. How's that for a strange little coupling? This is a mid-price Decca Jubilee issue. And, what the hell? So it's there. I'm not going to complain overly because it's still very, very good. It really is. Then we've got the Glagolitic Mass. This is the Kempo one that was on Decca. Decca, one of those Decca Legends or whatever it was. And we talked about it earlier. It's now on Decca Eloquence from Australia, which was awfully nice of them to issue this stuff. It really was. And you also get some Kodai pieces that you probably haven't heard. The Fantasia on a 12th century sequence, Laudes Organi, or Laudes Organi, however you want to pronounce it. And Psalm 114 from the Geneva Psalter with Gillian Ware, organ, the Brighton Festival Chorus, and Laszlo Heltai, good Hungarian choral director. So that's really fun to have. And Kodai is such a great writer for the chorus. Wonderful performances and very, very hard to get at the time that this was issued. So I was really happy when it came out. The Prague Wind Quintet doing, all kinds of weird Janacek. We've got the Concertino for piano, 2 violins, viola, clarinet, French horn, and bassoon. Obviously, the strings are not winds, so they have extra help. Then we've got a tale, the Pohádka, for cello and piano. Youth, the wind sextet. One of the most delightful pieces for wind ensemble that you'll ever hear in your life. And finally, the Capriccio, for piano, left hand, and wind ensemble. That is a strange bunch of instruments. And this is a very swift and exciting performance of it, featuring Ivan Klonsky piano and Marek Jerry cello, with like a bunch of other people doing things, honking and tooting and tweeting and screeching and slashing. And there's nothing like Janacek if you're into honking and tooting and screeching and slashing. Fantastic stuff on Praga Digitals. So that's that. And then we've got, this, folk ballads. How about you haven't heard these before? This is with Dagmar Petskova, a wonderful, wonderful singer. Mezzo-soprano Ivan Kustner, who's a wonderful singer also, baritone. Marian Lapshansky, a pianist. And we've got on here 6 folk songs which Eva Gabel sang. Folk nocturnes, the Detvand Brigand songs. If you ever wanted to be a Detvand Brigand, you must learn these. It's part of your initiation process. 5 folk songs and 4 ballads. Really very interesting pieces from Janacek's collections of folk songs. Like Bartók, he was an ethnomusicologist. He ran around and collected folk music, folk songs, folk speech rhythms, everything folk, and somehow it all turned up in his music, as it did in Bartók's, transmogrified. But there are some more literal transcriptions and arrangements, including these, and this was a wonderful disc to have. It's 77 minutes worth of stuff. There's a lot of music in there, and it's beautifully performed. Finally, last but not least, to end our Janacek surveys, we have the Janacek Quartet box on DG, the Janacek Quartet being the ensemble, not the works. In fact, this box only contains one work by Janacek, the second string quartet. Of course, the Janacek Quartet recorded both of them for Supraphon, and that's a classic, and it's available, and we've talked about it, or it was available. But here, we've got Mozart's String Quartet, Koschel 387, the Haydn String Quartet, Opus 33, number 3, more Haydn String Quartets, Opus 33's number 2, pardon, 33, number 2, Opus 3, number 5, Opus 76, number 2. Their Haydn's really nice. It's really good. It's Haydn-esque, rhythmic and tangy and full of spunk. It's wonderful. The Mendelssohn Octet with the Smetana Quartet. That's really cool. Beethoven's Second Razumovsky, Opus 59, number 2. The Brahms Piano Quintet and the Dvořák Piano Quintet, Opus 81, with Eva Bernalhova piano. Dvořák String Quartets, Opuses 34, 96, that's the American, 51, that's the Slavonic, I think, and 105, and then Smetana's String Quartet, number 1, From My Life, and Janacek's Second String Quartet. A wonderful group, really a terrific group, one of the great Czech string quartets, and their discography in the West is quite limited. I mean, so these 7 discs are really valuable, and the rest of it's locked up somewhere in the Supraphon archives, and who knows what we'll see, other than the Janacek quartets themselves. So, worth hearing if you can find it. Probably not anymore, but that's why I hung on to it. So keep on listening, friends. We're done with Janacek. Ives is up next. Take care.